while there are many differences between people, we are a diverse race, the human race is diverse, at a certain fundamental deepest level we are all one. And what is that level? That is the spiritual level. Because in one way we can say that we are all manifestations or visible manifestations in a visible form of the same God. A simpler way to put it is we are all children of the same God. But look at it in any way, since our source is the same, the divine essence is the same, we have a certain fundamental oneness. And when that oneness is recognized, that is what leads to that rise in consciousness, which is love-driven. That is what leads to fraternity. And that is what will change the world. That is what will wipe out the problems of human existence. So in fact, the larger sort of mission in the divine scheme seems to be that the West, which had started with an intellectual civilization, then even that was taken away and banished, and it became a conventional society, and then reason was brought in again and led to all this development in science and technology. Now that part of the world is becoming ready for an approach which goes beyond reason, and here is a source available, so that has to be provided, so that that part of the world also starts participating in this rise in consciousness. And of course, India also has to do the same, and that's why India was being woken up. India has to go through the same process. Doesn't mean that we'll take 400 years to do so. We can do it much faster because it is in our blood. But all the same, essentially the process has to be the same. And we also have to bring spirituality into our everyday life, live a life which is based on those deeper truths of existence. And that is what will truly lift the consciousness of the world. Doesn't mean that the entire population of the world will be affected by it. What is important is that a large number should be affected. The numbers are important. When the numbers are enough to be able to influence the affairs of the world, and then the world will change. So the spectrum of consciousness is wide today and probably will continue to be wide. But then what matters is the average level of consciousness, and the average depends upon the numbers. As the numbers multiply, the average will rise, and then that will become the dominant force, the dominant type of consciousness, the dominant power that will run the world, and that is what will change the world and make it a better place to live in. So in a way we can say that India's freedom will enable, the way Sri Aurobindo saw it was that India's freedom will enable India to play a better role, or play its role better in the rest of the world. That in turn will lead to a sense of oneness in the human race, that's human unity. That's why the twin work of that human cycle is the ideal of human unity. And this will depend in turn on what one may call the project consciousness. That is a project of lifting up the consciousness of the human race. So India's political freedom, to Sri Aurobindo, was not actually, truly speaking, the goal. It was, you can say, a milestone. Perhaps a better word would be to say it was a stepping stone. And even better, it was the springboard. So India's political freedom, to Sri Aurobindo, was the springboard from which the world could take a plunge into the pool of consciousness, so that the human race could swim to the safety and security and peace of a soulful existence.